I spent years secretly saving $210,000 to buy a cabin, only for my family to break in, burn it down, and leave me with no choice to file a lawsuit. Reddit, hello. To purchase this cabin, I worked hard and saved for years. I kept it a secret from my family. It turns out that they discovered it nonetheless, and without consulting me, they made the decision to arrive on July 12th with a large group of relatives. Get your popcorn ready for the next catastrophe. There will be a lot of mess. Logan is a 32-year-old man who is unmarried and, presumably, disappointed by the fact that I drive a truck rather than work in an office. My parents provided funding for my older sister, Natalie, to get her MBA. Aria, my younger sister, paid for both her wedding and the down payment on her first house. When I received my CDL, I completed the math once and received a card that stated, "We're proud of you." My parents spent roughly $200,000 between them on bailouts, marriages, automobiles, and schooling. For my 25th birthday, I received a $60 Applebee's gift card. Thus, I made a save. 45% of each paycheck was deposited directly into an account they were unaware existed. I survived on whatever I could microwave in the sleeper and truck stop food. Until the knees blew out, I wore the same 3 pairs of jeans, drove routes that were more lucrative, and that no one else wanted to take. Every extra penny, including tax refunds and Christmas bonuses, went into that account. I was treated like a backup plan by my family for years. The person who would always be available because I had nothing better to do. Assisting them in moving. Free work anytime they were in need. I was never invited to the key events, only the items that needed a lot of lifting. The cost of Natalie's wedding was $45,000. Complete catering. Location of the destination. Photographer whose hourly rate exceeded my daily earnings. The wedding party did not include me. The day before, I was there to assist with chair setup. It cost an additional $40,000 for Aria's wedding. After that, I assisted with gift moving. They both declined to cover the cost of the petrol. Dad gave Natalie $35,000 as a down payment when she purchased her first home. Christmas was always the worst. When I asked my mother whether she had anything saved for me, she answered, "Well, honey, you're so independent. You don't really need help, do you?" Natalie would receive jewelry and high-end purses. Aria would receive hundreds of dollars in cash and gift cards. I would purchase a sweatshirt from Target, and possibly a gift card for a chain of truck stops. I'll tell you about that cottage now. Last November, I located it in Montana. 20 acres of antique timber frame from 1985, outside Whitefish. The framework was sound, but it needed improvement. There are 3 bedrooms, a stone fireplace, and a backyard brook. The widow, who owned it, was selling because she was unable to keep it up. Her husband, who passed away 2 years ago, had constructed the majority of it by hand. She desired that it be given to a person who would value it. $210,000 is being asked. Add any necessary updates. 1,980 seconds kitchen appliances. A few deck boards were rotten. Plumbing that was functional but required maintenance. The frame, however, was good. Timber beams carved by hand, foundation made of stone, roof that only required shingles to be changed. What it might be, I could see. $200,000 in cash was offered. Close in 3 weeks. The widow gave me the impression that I was playing tricks on her. "Cash is no longer used," she remarked. I presented the bank statement to her. She broke down in tears, claimed that I would have been liked by her spouse, that I made her think of him, diligent, realistic, and aware of the importance of creating something on your own. She accepted it. I made use of my trucker buddy Chris as my real estate contact. Chris, a former driver in his mid-40s, entered the real estate market after his back failed. He wanted something long-term, and he got the road life. While I was traveling to Portland, he assisted me with the paperwork. From a truck stop in Wyoming, I signed everything on my phone. Sitting in a Pilot parking lot at 2 in the morning, I wired the money from my phone, consuming a burrito in the microwave. In a single transaction, the account fell from $210,000 to $15,000. Closed on December 15th. For my final delivery, I drove directly there, arrived at the cabin in a snowstorm at around midnight. For the first time, I carried a duffel bag and some energy drinks through my own front door. I didn't have any furniture yet, so I slept on the floor in my sleeping bag. There was no one to advise me on what to do with my 20 acres as I woke up to sunlight streaming in through the windows. Told precisely 2 individuals. Chris, as he assisted me in completing the transaction. Additionally, Brian, my trucking company dispatcher, needed to know where to mail my W-2 seconds. Brian was an ex-military man who operated dispatch like a tight ship, and was a straight shooter. They both understood why I didn't say anything. 3 years prior, they had met my family at a BBQ. I saw my mother chat about Natalie's promotion for 20 minutes, without asking me a single question about my life. Fixed the space in between the halls during the course of the following 7 months. I rebuilt the rotten deck boards, fixed the plumbing, installed a new roof, completed the most of the work myself, engaged local contractors for the parts I couldn't handle, paid cash for everything, and remained silent. The idea was to tell them around Christmas, with just the 2 of them, Mom and Dad first, show them what I created without their assistance. Show that the disappointed son's life was cohesive. On July 12th, that strategy took a wrong turn, so perhaps get a true "we're proud of you." When my mother called, I had been transporting construction equipment outside Bozeman for 3 hours. Her name appeared on the dash as the phone rang. I responded because I assumed someone had passed away. She generally calls in the middle of the week for this reason. "Oh, thank God, Logan. Logan, you're needed now. There was a hint of worry in her voice, which normally indicates that she made a mistake and wanted my help fixing it. What took place? At your cabin, there was a fire. We're all here. And there was a grill mishap that caused the kitchen to sustain smoke damage. A portion of the deck to catch fire. And my brain to shut down. Why in the world are you at my cabin? Quiet. Then, honey, your cottage. When we visited your flat last month to pick up your old furniture, Natalie discovered the address in your letter. Because you wanted it to be a surprise, we thought it was adorable that you purchased a family holiday destination and kept it a secret. You broke into my property while we were planning a large family reunion weekend. We didn't break in. Dad phoned a locksmith. Sweetie, we have been partying here since Thursday. Uncle Steve was grilling today when the propane tank exploded, catching the deck. We attempted to extinguish fire, but I hung up. Performed a 65 and an 80 while being pulled over on the shoulder. I nearly clipped a railing because my hands were shaking so much. Gave Brian a call. I need an emergency leave of absence, Brian. A family crisis. What took place? My cottage was set on fire after my family broke in. For 3 seconds. He was silent. Take as much time as you need. Geez. I'll redirect the traffic. Get a lawyer, Logan. My journey to the cabin took 4 hours. Exceeded all speed limits between Whitefish and Bozeman. My mind kept calculating the potential damage they may have caused during the drive. How much it would cost to fix. How they believed this was appropriate. Kept playing Mom's voice over and over. She said, your cabin. In a nonchalant manner. As if she had known all along. As if I wouldn't mind if they broke in. My hands were trembling on the steering wheel. I had to stop twice to collect myself before I made the foolish decision to wrap my pickup around a tree. When I stopped for the second time, I just sat in a parking lot for a rest area and took a deep breath. I looked at pictures I had taken of the cabin when I originally purchased it on my phone. Reminded myself of the situation I was in. Around 7 p.m., they turned onto my property. 7 cars were counted. Uncle Steve's RV. Aunt Sam's van. Natalie's sedan. Arya's SUV. Dad's truck. Mom's SUV. And a car belonging to a relative. From what I could see, 20 persons were unfamiliar to me. Children playing with sparklers, someone's Bluetooth speaker is playing music. The air was heavy with the smell of smoke and charcoal. The deck I had hand repaired was twisted, dark, and partially burnt. The window in the kitchen blew out. Glass all over the place. The exterior wall was covered in smoke streaks. In my front yard, someone had erected tents as if they were going camping. A portable barbecue that wasn't mine was there. There are coolers everywhere. The grass is covered in cans. Overflowing trash bags are stacked by the trees. Between 2 trees, someone had hung a banner. 2024 will be the Havel family reunion. I parked and exited my truck. The entire family turned to stare at me as if I were interrupting their celebration, which I suppose I was. Mom came over first, her eyes flushed. We're very sorry, Logan, honey. We had planned to surprise you, but after the disaster, we're all really unhappy, and have been cleaning up, but please leave my property. She halted as if I had given her a slap. What? Now go off my property, everyone. Dad approached me with a drink in hand, attempting to seem like the sensible parent he always was when he was going to deceive me. Let's discuss this, son. An accident occurred. We'll contribute to the cost of the repairs. Alex, you broke into my fucking house while we were merely attempting to do something pleasant. His face flushed. We didn't break in. A locksmith opened it for us. You need to have informed us that you purchased this property. We believed you wanted us all to enjoy it together, because it's the ideal family destination. I continued, glancing at everyone. And he paid a locksmith to drill my lock like it was his place. No one requested permission. You simply concluded that you were entitled. I moved past him, and in the direction of the cottage. Its front door was ajar. Through my windows, I can hear conversations and music coming from inside. Natalie arrived at my house with a drink, and ice clinking in the glass. She was always helpful to me. I was married to a man who worked in finance and thought I was beneath him. Calm down, Logan. We are related. What's so important? There is only minor smoke damage. It will be covered by insurance. By breaking in, we were really doing you a favor, and you ruined my belongings. Oh, please. It hasn't been destroyed. Quit being so theatrical. We genuinely thought you would be pleased that we were all enjoying the cabin you purchased, and we have been having a fantastic weekend. Rather, you're destroying what little time we have left as a family and acting selfishly. I strolled into my cabin, past her. The kitchen was a complete mess. Smoke damage left black stripes on the ceiling and walls. I had painted the cabinets myself. Devoted 3 weekends to perfecting the hue. Were scorched. Doors that hang crookedly. A few of them burned through. Above the sink, the window was blasted out. Glass all over the place. There is an empty fire extinguisher on the counter. Everything is covered in foam. Would require a full replacement. There were burn marks on the stove. Everything inside the refrigerator was rotten. The door was ajar, and the refrigerator was unplugged. The cooler was still full of their drinks when they discovered it on the deck after unplugging it to plug it in. There were cans and bottles all throughout the living room. There were muddy footprints on the $300 rug I had purchased 2 months prior, wet towels on my recliner, and someone had rearranged my furnishings. It was worse in the bedrooms. My bed linens had juice stains, toys were all over the place, and someone's children had been in my room. Wet towels were stacked on the floor, and toiletries were scattered throughout my bathroom. Trying not to have a heart attack, I watched the entire thing. The whole family was standing in a defensive cluster, eyeing me as if I were the issue, as I went back outside. Arya had her phone out. Uncle Steve was attempting to project authority. Aunt Sam was in tears. The children continued to rush around. I'm going to call the police if everyone doesn't leave immediately. Arya chuckled. That phony chuckle. Logan, you're not phoning the police on your own family. Simply unwind. Tomorrow, we'll tidy things up and contribute to the repairs. So everything will be alright. As usual, you're overreacting. My house was broken into by you. My property was ruined by you. You still had the courage to say something. Now get out of here. Please. Uncle Steve moved to the front. The big guy used to be the head of the household. Logan, your mom told us that you purchased a cabin, and we thought it would be great to come together and enjoy it. We had no idea you would be so possessive of it. Have I been asked? Quiet. Have any of you called me to inquire about coming here? More quiet. My mother began to cry more intensely. After rolling her eyes, Arya returned to her phone. Natalie put her drink down. Please accept our apologies for the fire. But right now, you're being rather impolitely. You're treating us like criminals. Even though our family traveled this far to rejoice. That's precisely why no one asks you to events. You are crooks, which is why you are constantly so pessimistic. You broke into my property without permission, and damaged it to the tune of thousands of dollars. I took out my phone and began snapping photos of the charred deck, the blown out window, the smoke damage, every bottle, can, bit of garbage, and shattered object. As they stood there observing, they recorded everything. I have footage of the toys in my bedroom, the clogged toilet, the foam residue, and the inside damage. What are you doing, Logan? Mom's voice trembled as she asked. You'll see. I then dialed 911. Deputy Harris was the sheriff's deputy who arrived, mid-40 seconds, appeared worn out. Before he was overrun, I met him at the edge of the land. Logan Havel, are you? Ow. Yes, this property is mine. They caused fire damage, hired a locksmith to break my locks, and entered without my consent. He glanced over my shoulder to my family, huddled close to the charred deck. Is that your family? Regretfully? He nearly grinned. Let's begin with the fundamentals. After that, he questioned me. Is the property mine? Are they authorized to be there? I didn't tell them that I purchased it. They were never invited. They decided to arrange a party for themselves after discovering the address while looking through my mail. Deputy Harris took out his notes and nodded. All right. Give me the statements. First he spoke to my parents, then my sisters, and finally Uncle Steve. While I stood by my truck, recording additional damage on my phone, he spent about 40 minutes interviewing each person. Their portable grill, which ignited the fire, was also recorded. A damaged valve on a propane tank. Deputy Harris returned. According to your family, they believed you wanted them here, and took your sister's discovery of the address as an invitation. It is not an invitation to break into someone's home. I concur. The situation is as follows. Some of this is civil property damage, but if you want to pursue it, you may be charged with trespassing and breaking and entering. You make the decision. Yes, I do. He gave me a long look. Are you certain? Your family is this. Without my consent, they demolished my property. Yes, without a doubt. Okay. I couldn't hear what he was saying as he walked back to my family. My mom began to cry more intensely. My sisters appeared to be plotting my murder. Dad had a purple face. Deputy Harris returned. I've told them that you'll be submitting a formal report and that they must depart right away. I've taken pictures of the scene. To make an official statement, you will have to visit the station tomorrow. In order to record the fire damage for the report, I'm also phoning the fire marshal. How about the harm? That's polite. If you intend to file a lawsuit for damages, you should probably consult a lawyer, obtain repair quotes, and document everything. Yes, I am. He gave his card to me. Visit us tomorrow morning. Over the course of the following hour, my family filled their cars. Every time Mom tried to get close to me, I walked away. Dad appeared to want to punch someone, but with a police officer around, he decided against it. Natalie ensured that I heard her inform Arya that I had passed away. They had to go, which is why the children were crying. Uncle Steve was murmuring about treachery in the family. Aunt Sam gave me the expression of someone who had kicked a puppy. They left at 10 o'clock at night. The fire marshal, who recorded the damage to the kitchen and terrace, and Deputy Harris exited last. When everyone had gone, I silently strolled through my cabin. My family believed they had a right to everything I owned, so they demolished the house I had saved for 11 years and the property I had manually repaired. About midnight, I gave Chris a call. A lawyer is what I need. Well done. What took place? Described everything in detail. Then he was silent for a minute. I know a dude, man. Expert in property litigation. He's a shark, but he's not cheap. Do you want his phone number sent to you? Yes, Logan, I must ask. Do you truly wish to file a lawsuit against your own family? Chris. They set fire to my house after breaking in. How would you respond? I would take them to court till next year. I'll SMS you the attorney's details. I slept in my truck. I was unable to sleep in the cabin because of the overwhelming stench of smoke and the devastation my family had caused. I sat in the sleeper cab and peered out the windshield at my land. I made a note on my phone of everything they had broken and everything that needed to be fixed. Before I quit writing, the list had reached 2 complete pages. Only got around 2 hours of sleep. Continued to use my belongings as though they were theirs. Laugh, drink, and think about them. The morning arrived dark and chilly. I used my portable burner to make instant coffee. As the sun rose over my ruined land, I sat on the tailgate. Chris gave a call at 7 in the morning. On Monday morning, we met with the attorney. Frank was his name, and he was 60 years old. Guy seems to have spent 40 years ruining people in court. Everything was laid out, including the police report, the fire marshal's report, the photos, the videos, the repair estimates I had received over the weekend, the kitchen repair, the deck rebuild, the smoke remediation and repainting, the broken windows, the damaged furniture and belongings, the stolen food and supplies, the new locks and security system, and the lost wages from missing work. $50,000 in total. Frank went over everything, taking notes, and occasionally glancing up at me through his reading glasses. Put the papers down at last. This is quite simple. Property damage, trespassing, and breaking and entering with a locksmith. The propane tank leak is confirmed by the fire marshal's report. You have records, a police report, and evidence of your ownership. They've got no defense. How much time will it take? 6 months to a year if they resist. Maybe 3 months if they settle. However, I must ask, are you prepared for this? They will attempt to ruin your life. This is not new to me. Yes, I'm prepared. He grinned. Okay, let's destroy their entire universe. They were smacked by the lawsuit on Wednesday. All 3 defendants, Alex, Linda, and Natalie, received certified letters from Frank. Since Aria didn't actually organize it, she wasn't given a name. She had just arrived, but she would soon learn the truth. On Thursday morning, my phone began to ring. Disregarded the initial 10 calls. Send them all to voicemail. Later that evening, while sitting in my truck at a rest area in Idaho, I listened to them. Logan, please don't sue us, Mom. Your parents are us. We were wrong. We believed you would be content. Let's resolve this as a family, so please give us a call back. This is absurd. Dad, you're going to ruin this family because of some smoke damage or an accident. Instead of rushing to attorneys, give me a call back, and let's resolve this like adults. Logan, Natalie, you're a piece of work. Choose a cottage over your own family. You've always been self-centered, but this is a new low. Never again expect to be invited to any family gatherings. Mom and Dad are inconsolable. Disregarded them all. That afternoon, Brian gave a call. How are things going, dude? Filed the lawsuit. They're going crazy. Excellent. They merited it. Listen, if you need work, I have several runs coming up. Good pay, long hauls. Staying active could be beneficial. Don't think about this disaster. Send me the routes, please. We'll manage. Logan, you made the correct decision. Return to driving the following week. I was given premium routes by Brian, which paid more than my typical hauls. Allowed me some time to reflect, without having to witness the cabin's devastation. It was beneficial. No family drama, just myself, the truck, and the highway. Every few days, Frank sent me updates via SMS regarding the legal matters. A lawyer had been retained by the defendants. It was a misunderstanding, they were saying. Said they had attempted to get in touch with me, but were unable. Because they believed the family get-together would make me happy. Total fabrications. According to Frank's phone records, they didn't call me until after the fire. Early in August, the repairs began. I couldn't do it myself while working, so I had to hire contractors. I took out a $30,000 loan to pay for the immediate expenses because the original purchase and renovations depleted my resources. Since I had just purchased the property and had not yet obtained complete coverage, insurance was challenging. Only basic responsibility. I would correct my error once this was ended. Every dollar spent on repairs seemed like an excuse to intensify the lawsuit. Almost immediately, my relatives launched their smear campaign. Chris informed me that Natalie was telling everyone that I had invited them in secret, changed my mind, and filed a lawsuit to collect money. Total fabrications, but since it suited their narrative better than the truth, many accepted them. Aria was continually sharing tearful selfies with captions about toxic family members who prioritize money over relationships on social media. Lengthy posts about how I was ruining the family because of an accident, and how I refused to even try to resolve it with them. At church, Mom was acting like the victim. When Chris's wife went there, she heard everything. Mom sobs about raising a child that was unappreciative and more concerned with possessions than with family. The women of the church were appalled. Began a circle of prayer for her. At his Veterans Hall, Dad was sharing his story. Before someone questioned why they hadn't simply sought for permission beforehand, they received a lot of support there. The response to that question was not favorable. He departed early. Natalie launched an internet crowdsourcing initiative. Assist a family in overcoming a fraudulent lawsuit. Andemans raised roughly $800 before it was removed for being deceptive when someone complained. She also held me accountable for that. Didn't reply to any of it. Frank suggested that they speak. Every statement they make in public could be interpreted as harassment. Don't participate, but record everything. Makes them appear worse in court. Depositions were held in September. I had to sit in Frank's office while I was questioned on tape by the defense attorney, Miles, who appeared to be a recent law school graduate. Did I get along well with my parents? Had there been disagreements before? Why had I kept the cottage a secret from them? Was I not being spiteful? Answered all of the questions. No, my relationship with them was not good. Since the cabin belonged to me and they had no claim to it, I kept it a secret from them. They broke my locks with the help of a locksmith, entered without authorization, and caused $50,000 in damage. In addition to full recompense, I demanded legal fees. The defense attorney attempted to portray me as vengeful and greedy. Asked if I harbored resentment toward my sisters for receiving financial assistance. Asked whether underlying family problems or the cabin were the true cause of this. Half of it was objected to by Frank. The implication was obvious, but the judge upheld the majority of the objections. They intended to paint me as the villain who ruined the family because of the property damage. My parents were also required to provide depositions. Frank later told me that things didn't work out for them. Alex acknowledged that they never sought my consent. Linda acknowledged that they looked through my mail without asking to find the address. Natalie acknowledged that she hired the locksmith to open my cabin and planned the entire event. In October, Frank gave me a call. They're looking to settle. For what amount? Total damages, plus the cost of your legal representation. $55,000 in total. Accepted. Are you certain? If we go to trial, we might receive more. Suffering on an emotional level. Punitive damages. I want it finished. Accept the settlement. Astute. I'll write the terms. Additionally, I advise you to request a restraining order against each of the 3 defendants. Take action. In November, the settlement was finalized. On a Wednesday morning, as I was transporting a shipment across Nebraska, a wire transfer was made directly to my account. Repaid the repair debt right away. Paid for Frank's services. Had an extra $18,000. Contribute half to the planned security system update. Save the remainder. My phone and the sheriff's office are immediately connected to cameras, motion sensors, and an alarm system. I applied for a protection order against all 3 defendants with Frank's assistance. The judge signed it a week later. Alex, Linda, and Natalie are subject to a 3-year order. They were unable to reach me, couldn't approach me or my property within 500 feet. Arrest was the consequence of a violation, not merely a fine. I never heard directly from them again. That was ensured by the restraining order. Chris, on the other hand, told me that they were having difficulties through connections they had in common. Their savings had been depleted by the settlement. To pay for it, Alex and Linda had to refinance their home. Money was the continual source of contention between Natalie and her husband. Aria was upset that her parents were no longer able to assist with childcare costs. Excellent. Early December saw the completion of the cabin repairs, right before the first snowfall. Although it took a total of 4 months, the final product looked superior. A new deck with composite boards that wouldn't burn and the right railings. Commercial-grade appliances make the kitchen better. Everywhere is stainless steel. A functional hood, and an appropriate ventilation system. The exact colors I had originally selected were used to refinish the walls. The repair debt was paid off in full by the settlement. Gave me space to breathe that I hadn't had in months. I updated to granite countertops in the new kitchen. First time installing a dishwasher. I thought I deserved that. I possessed a gas range. Cole knew a local craftsman who made the cabinets to order, superior to my own work in terms of quality. However, they were still painted the same hue. I resumed spending my days off there. Brought furniture from my flat. Replaced anything they had damaged. Cole helped me set up the security system. I had met Cole, a local contractor, while doing the repairs. We became buddies when he assisted with the deck's reconstruction. Every angle of the property is captured by 8 cameras. Motion-activated lights were even placed around the perimeter. Between the equipment and the expert installation, the entire setup had cost roughly $10,000. But I was able to do it correctly thanks to the settlement money. Again, no one was entering without my knowledge. Just before Christmas, Brian arrived and assisted me in moving the final large items. New refrigerator, bed frame, and couch. We grabbed some drinks while standing on the chilly deck and admiring the freshly snow-covered land. He said, "It's unbelievable that they attempted to take this away from you. Tried and didn't succeed. Listen to the rumors. In order to pay the compensation, your old guy had to take up side jobs. Excellent. For once, let him do anything other than write checks to my sisters." Chris arrived for the New Year's. In the outdoor fire pit I had constructed away from the cabin, we started a fire and had a few drinks. Owning your own peace is what he raised his can to. That's what I'll drink to. Through contacts, I learned that the repercussions from my family was still continuing strong and increasing worse. The settlement wiped out Alex and Linda's savings, forcing them to refinance their home at a horrendous rate, destroyed the retirement fund they had been saving for 20 years. The cruise they had scheduled for their 35th anniversary had to be canceled. Couldn't afford their usual way of living. They had to cancel their membership in the country club. In January, Natalie and her spouse formally parted ways. In addition to the financial strain, he had been incensed that she had planned the entire cabin invasion. It seemed as though she had pulled him into her turmoil. I'm sure everything was going well for everyone when she returned to live with my parents. I heard that at 34, she was posting passive-aggressive quotes on social media while sleeping in her childhood bedroom. Passive-aggressive posts about family betrayal and financial difficulties replaced Aria's flawless lifestyle content on Instagram. The fact that her parents were unable to assist with their second child as promised infuriated her husband. They had planned their budget with the free childcare in mind. They were now rushing to find childcare that they couldn't afford. Their idyllic marriage was beginning to show signs of weakness. Her posts became increasingly somber and desperate, and fewer followers responded. Uncle Steve attributed the entire situation to my parents. Said that by inviting him to Logan's cabin without first making sure I was aware of it, they forced him into it. Give up conversing with them. Aunt Sam continued to weep over having to cover her portion of the legal bills. For amusement, a cousin spread the myth that I was genuinely wealthy, and only intended to bankrupt the family. I overheard Natalie telling people that I had destroyed the family, that I was vicious and vindictive, and that money was more important to me than relationships. Let her speak. I had already restored my savings, and my cabin. At the age of 34, she was forced to live with our parents due to debt and a broken marriage. Shifted my priorities, and began creating the life I had truly desired. Cole introduced me to additional locals. Ordinary guys who didn't demand favors, or give a damn about family problems. I was introduced to Cole's crew. Guys who spent their weekends hanging out and working in construction understood it. Sometimes all you need is your own space. When I wasn't traveling, we would collaborate on projects and take care of whatever needed to be done. To house tools and equipment, a suitable shed was constructed on the land. We completed everything correctly, although it took 3 weekends. Everything, including a suitable foundation. The deck was extended to partially encircle the cabin, expanded my area, so I could sit outside and take in the sunsets. Installed a generator backup system that, in the event of a power outage, could power the entire chalet for a week. Cole recommended an electrician who completed the work neatly, to code, and at a reasonable cost. When I was nearby, he would come up. Whatever project came up next, we would work on it. He showed me how to install proper mitered corners, crown molding, and improved my carpentry skills. In exchange, I would assist him with side gigs when I had free time, earning extra money that I immediately used to upgrade the cabin. The appeal went to Cole. Sometimes all you need is a home of your own. No obligations, no justifications. That's right. The first indications of spring appeared in March. Everything is awakening as the snow melts and the brook rushes loudly. Took a week off from work and did nothing useful while at the cabin. Read the books I've had on my to-do list for years. Prepared real food, not just trash from the truck stop. On the new terrace, grilled steaks. Every morning, I made fresh coffee. As the sun rose over the mountains, I sat outside in the chill, went to the creek to fish. Landed a few trout. Big enough to eat, but not enormous. They were pan-fried with garlic and butter. Ate them while the sun was setting. It was earned. Now everything felt earned up here. I considered where I was a year ago. I was reflected about all that had transpired. The lawsuit, the fire, the invasion, all of it. I was pleased with every choice I had made. No duties, no family drama, just me and the life I had created and protected. I was staining the new deck on a Tuesday afternoon in late April, 5 months after the settlement, when a car came into my driveway. I had the gate open since I was anticipating a delivery of lumber. Instantly recognized the vehicle. The white SUV of Arya. I was warned by the security system before she reached halfway up the drive. I looked at my phone's camera stream. She looked grungy, had no children, and was by herself. I put down my brush and went to the top of the driveway to greet her. She gently exited. "Can we have a conversation, Logan? You must go now. Just 5 minutes, please." To get here, I drove for 3 hours. "I need assistance. Mom, Dad, and Natalie are subject to a restraining order, Arya. You are still trespassing on my property even though you are not protected by it. I'm requesting that you leave once." She broke down in tears. Real tears that appeared to have been accumulating for several months. "I'm desperate, Logan. Dad and Mom are no longer willing to assist. They are unable to pay for it. Natalie blames me for not preventing you from suing, so she hardly speaks to me. My spouse and I are in danger of drowning. I need money alone since the second child's medical fees are ruining us, and the house payment is 3 months overdue. $20,000. I'll reimburse you, I promise. My husband is discussing divorce. We are on the verge of losing the house, and I am at a loss on what to do. You ought to have considered it before you broke into my property. I didn't cause that. I recently arrived. It wasn't organized by me. The locksmith was not hired by me. I had no idea. You were aware. Everyone was aware. And none of you requested authorization. You simply thought that since it has always been that way, you could take anything you wanted from me." She left a damp streak on her face after wiping it with her sleeve. "I understand. All right. We made a mistake. We ought to have asked before coming here. However, this is not the same. I am your sister. I beseech you. Parents that take responsibility rather than constantly seeking freebies are what your kids need. At your age. Do you know what I was doing? Saving every penny while living in a truck. Routes that no one else wants to take. Consuming trash food in order to construct something. And you? You have a wedding, a down payment for a home, and your parents' free childcare, and you still can't make it work?" The mask came off as her expression changed from one of desperation to one of anger. "Are you truly going to let your niece and nephew to suffer because you harbor resentment? Just like I had to solve my own difficulties, I'll let you solve yours. You were given everything while being treated like the family's disappointment for 11 years. And you believed you could simply take it when I eventually made something for myself. It was an error. It was a matter of entitlement. I will now ask you once more to vacate my land. Then I'm going to contact Deputy Harris and have you taken out for trespassing." She was breathing heavily as she stood there trembling. "The brother I knew is not you. I was unknown to you. You simply knew which version worked best. You have 30 seconds to get into your vehicle." Began to count aloud. At 15, she received the message. She practically sprinted to her SUV, started the engine with trembling hands, and sat there for a while as if she may say anything more. I took out my phone and displayed Deputy Harris's number for her to see. With her tires spinning and debris flying, she sped out. Behind her, the gate immediately closed. I returned to staining the deck after watching the dust settle on my driveway. 3 coatings were required for the wood. It had to be done correctly. An hour later, Cole arrived with the materials needed to expand the shed. I saw the new tire marks. Someone just walked out quickly. My sister arrived pleading for cash. "What were you saying?" Before I phoned the sheriff, I gave her 30 seconds to go. He picked up his tools and nodded. "Excellent. Some folks need to understand that there are repercussions. We built something that would last until the sunset. After we were done, we sat on the new deck and watched the light fade over the mountains while he opened 2 sodas from his cooler. Cole remarked, "This is a good place. Deserving of protection. Indeed, it is. That night, the cottage was silent. Simply the sound of the brook rushing with melted snow. The wind blowing among the pines. The new deck boards are starting to settle. It buzzed on my phone. Brian texted. If you would like, I have a premium route for you next week, Boston to Portland. Outstanding compensation. Answered. I'm in. Forward the information. I slept better that night than I had in a long time. It was a good life. I was at peace. I owned my property. And I felt good about myself because I knew I had won. That was sufficient. After 5 months of helping my wife succeed,